Hello, this is the setup and maintenance video for the Facebook Learning Management System project. So, starting off, you will either get the project files through the zip file or through the GitHub repository. And once you're there, you're going to want to have a Visual Studio Code installed to edit the files and use the terminal. Node.js is a dependency of both the client and the backend projects. NPM, which is a package manager that should come with the long-term support version of Node. And for the client, there's also the additional dependencies of Angular CLI. So once you have the project open, what you're going to want to do is open the backend and run npm install. That will download and install any other package dependencies that the project has. They're also listed inside of the package JSON. And you'll also want to do that for the client. Run npm install. And if there's any vulnerabilities, you'll want to run npm audit fix, which will attempt to resolve any of the vulnerabilities with patches that are available. Otherwise, if you have the knowledge to manually fix those problems, you may well want to do that. So after you install your dependencies and you run npm install in both the client and the backend projects, what you might want to do is try to generate new certificate and keys for yourself. Right now we're using the keys that were generated by Daniel. He's my partner. I'm João, and he's the certificate authority that he used. It was himself. So in my computer, it's not authenticated. So what I have to do is whenever that certificate is invalid, I just bypass it, and then I also have to do it for the backend, which is at this port. So that it will work, I have to tell it that utils hello. I have to tell them that those are both safe, or that I don't care that their certificate's not from a trusted source, because this is only for the development environment. For a production environment, you would need to use whatever keys and certificates are associated with the domain that you use. So then after you have those in place, what you will need is a Firebase database, which you can get through a GCP project. So once you select a project and you have the database added to the project, you want to go to the settings, which will take you to this place, and click on service accounts and generate a new private key. That will give you a JSON object, which you will have to rename learn FIU underscore db.json and place it inside of the backend folder. This will give you your application access to the backend database, the Firebase database. After that, you're going to want to go to developers.facebook.com and create a new Facebook app, and copy the app key, and also enable Facebook login as one of your products that you'll be using. Then you're going to want to place that app ID in both the client and the backends in one spot. So you're going to want to go in the client, source, app config TypeScript, and replace it here. It might be that they also upgraded the API version by the time that you access this project. So then you would also change it here. And here you could also change the support contacts for the application. And those would be displayed in one of the help pages in the project. And then to run the application, the backend, you would run npm run dev, which runs the script dev, which sets environment equals dev, and runs node index, which will run this file, and that would host the HTTPS server. And for the client, you're going to want to run ng-serve, and those will serve an HTTPS server for the front end and one for the back end, which you can access at myhost.local. So then at port 4200, it's the client. And also, if you're already not defined, you'll want to edit your hosts file, which is in the C Windows System 32 drivers, etc. hosts. You want to add this definition because you cannot generate usually you cannot generate a certificate for localhost, at least not a valid one online. So then you want to have this defined so you can create and replace our certificates, which are both there's both for a backend one and a client one. And for production, this would be deployed as a Node.js app, and the client would be compiled running ng build production prod, and that will create a new folder called distribution, which I'll open in my desktop for the sake of time. So then client will create this new folder dist, and this is what you would put in the HTML server. And if it has any errors about missing pages because it's a single page website, you will want to place this .htaccess file inside of the web host, which will redirect all the missing file calls to index and make the application run properly. So that is all you need to know to run this app.